What are the top 3 business credit cards for you, and which one provides the most features? So today we're going to cover 3 credit cards and an entire platform that allows you to do things like expense and travel all built into one, which is also your business credit card. So before we jump in, the top 3 business credit cards that I recommend, 2 of them are going to be Chase. You have the Chase Unlimited and the Chase Preferred. They both have slightly different benefits, but the reason why I picked those are specifically for the points. They give you the best travel points. They give you 1.5 back on kind of everything you spend. They give you insurance. And not only that, but if you're a smaller business and you're allowed to transfer points to your personal, you can transfer them over to the Chase Reserve and get some additional return when you spend that money towards travel. Now, the real showdown is between them and Divvy, which is now bill, spend, and expense. And the reason why this showdown is coming is not just because of the points, where they both offer pretty friendly points, but what Divvy's done is they've created an entire platform where you can create virtual credit cards, you can pause credit cards, you can set budgets for individuals, you can run expenses, so if your team spends money in cash, they can do expense transactions directly into that system. And you can also use those points directly with a premium travel partner. And you get access to premium travel portals like Travel Perks, where you can use your points, but you can also set up rules for your team to travel and give them all access, so they have an executive travel portal. So I actually carry all 3 of these credit cards and I use them at different times. So if it's an expense that I'm doing personally, or I'm running a large one-time transaction, that's when I'll use one of the Chase credit cards, depending on kind of if it's travel or if it's an invoice. So those are the one-time transactions for me. That way I don't have to worry about them accidentally being recurring expenses and things like that. But any type of recurring expense or any credit that I give to my team, give them access to, I do through Divvy, because I have a lot more control with these virtual credit cards. I can set up a one-time credit card for any kind of subscription, and I can set it to monthly or annual or quarterly and make sure that I'm not being overcharged and have specific budgets for my team. So if you guys are interested in learning more about Divvy and bill expense, let's jump right into that tutorial. I'll do a screen share and I'll walk you through how we have it set up and those benefits. All right, so now we're gonna jump into that full tutorial. And like I said before, the Chase cards, they're very traditional cards. They work like any credit card you've ever used before, but Divvy is completely different. And Divvy is now bill, spend, and expense. Bill bought them about a year ago and are just kind of transitioning the branding. I'll also have a referral link in the description. You guys, if you're going to try this out, please use that. One of the benefits of Divvy is a lot of times you'll be able to get business credit early on in your journey. So what they do is they actually look at cash flow and they look at the cash in your account, and they don't make you personally guarantee it like the Chase Inc. and the other Chase cards. So that is a huge benefit for a lot of smaller businesses as they're jumping in, and they'll just manage your budget based on, and your credit limit based on how much cash flow you have. So the more cash flow you have coming in, the more cash you have in your account, the higher your budget and your limit will be. Another thing that they do is with points, they're gonna be able to, if you pay weekly, they actually give you more points. So let's just jump into the points real quick. All 3 cards offer different points. As I mentioned, for all 3 cards, I'll have links if you want to sign up. That way I get a little bit of credit. But right here, you're going to go through, and for Divvy, they have different reward points if you pay weekly, which we do, because you're getting 7 times on restaurants, 5 times on hotels, 2 times on recurring software, and 1.5 on everything else. Now, Divvy points aren't worth quite as much as points are in the Chase portal, especially if you transfer them over to the Chase Reserve. So keep that in mind. Also, you cannot transfer these over to a personal account, so that might affect kind of how you look at that. But for us, it's amazing, because what we'll do is we'll save all of that and we use it for team travel, team events, conferences. So it gives us a nice budget to spend on our team. The other credit card that we talked about is the Unlimited Chase, and that gives you 1.5 flat on everything. If you transfer that over to the other card, you get an additional 1.5, so it's 2.25. And then if you use the Preferred, they have specific categories where they're best in shipping, advertising, internet, cable, phone, travel. You get some additional benefits in there, also some added insurance. It works a lot like the Reserve, but for business. Now let's jump back into the Divvy and I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, so now that we're in the Divvy portal, I want to kind of walk you guys through, and this will be a simple tutorial on how to set up and what it does. It'll also be kind of a review to help you make that decision whether you want to go forward with it. I highly recommend it. Again, this is a free platform. It saved my business millions of dollars in fraudulent charges, overcharges, and budgeting, and I can actually show you that to you. But first off, there's a main dashboard. Just you have to-do list, which is a lot of times it's expenses, but I have to approve those, credit information, limits. I do link this directly to my bank account, and that's how we do monthly payments. There'll be income statements and different information built right in. One of the best things that we use is it directly connects to QuickBooks and other accounting softwares, and you can actually do all of your accounting in this dashboard instead of there, and just sync it after it's approved. It is actually very user-friendly because you can actually pre-allocate the chart of accounts when you make virtual credit cards. So let's just go into the first thing that you need to do would be add people. So under this section, you'll add different team members. You'll have to link them to a budget after you add them. They can get a physical card or they can just focus on virtual credit cards. So that's what it looks like. You can add a person, you can add their information and put it all right in here. So the next thing you need to do once you set up these people is create budgets for them. And you can do this in different orders, but basically you can create an annual budget, you can create a quarterly budget, or you can create a monthly budget. Most of our budgets are monthly, and that's just because most transactions are monthly. So basically we'll go by department or we'll go by individual. So a lot of our supervisors and managers have their own budget, and that way they can kind of run things in their department without constantly having to ask for permission to use the credit card. And we don't have to worry about any surprise billing, because if a specific department, say they get a $5,000 budget for advertising and they try to spend 501, it'll auto shut off, and then we can go ahead and approve that transaction for them. So it's really powerful, especially when it comes to different bills and things like that, because a lot of times it'll prevent unknown kind of overbilling, or we've had this happen where someone accidentally signed up for a premium account when we only needed the basic account. So instead of being $5 per user per month, it was $12 per user per month, and it actually, our budgets weren't set tight enough, so they were able to get it through for 2 months. And the third month, it actually triggered the budget, and we went in and we're like, well, why are we overspending by $2,000? And we're able to fix that. So instead of it being $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, it was only $2,000. So very valuable for us. Anyways, you would create a new budget right in here. You would just name it. You'd give it a limit. You can set a buffer, so a one-time overage. This one, you can set it to a daily budget, a weekly budget, monthly, quarterly, yearly, or doesn't auto-renew. You could also set an expiration date. So if you had a contractor coming in and they only needed a budget for a week, and if they didn't use it, they lost it, that's how you would do it. So then you'll just add individuals here. I'm not gonna go through every step because I wanna keep this kind of high level, but you can add your owners in here. So let's just put me as an owner. Members, there's a whole bunch of different settings here. You'll have to play with them, but I just wanna kind of show you what everything looks like. If you wanna preset a chart of accounts for this budget, it'll kind of auto set everything to that, but it'll warn you that it's been preset and things like that. So I'll show you that when you set up a card. So this is what the budget looks like. You can have infinite number of budgets. Again, it's super important for us that we have very tight limits. So we make sure that if on average, we'll look at the last 3 months, if on average an individual department spent $3,000, we'll probably give them a $3,200 budget. And then if they need to go over, they have to ask. So it's been it's just a game changer. That's it for budgets. Now just on the normal credit card processing system, the last step, so you've added someone in, you've created a budget. Now you just need to create virtual credit cards. So yes, you can get a physical credit card, and you can set budgets to that physical credit card. So our HR staff has physical credit cards, whether they need to pay for parking for the team or they're doing team events. They're the ones that are at shopping the most for us. Most of the rest of our team just relies on these virtual credit cards. So it's really easy. Once we're in here, we're gonna create a new credit card. We'll label it Otter PR. So that's the PR firm that I own. If you guys are interested in any PR services, please reach out. Let's just say that we're gonna do, it's advertising. So I don't have an advertising budget, but I probably have a marketing one. So marketing software and tools. I'm gonna choose a vendor card here. That's my available budget. I'm gonna say that it's gonna cost me $200 or $2,000 a month. And I want to do this every single month. One of the great things is if there's like a sign-up fee and it was month one, it was $2,500, or you needed to add something to a specific month because you were spending more there, you can just do that right here and increase it. Let's also say that you only wanted to work with this company for 1 year was when you wanted to reevaluate working with them. So you would just set this for end of year 2024. You would assign a specific cardholder. In this case, it's going to be me. But everyone on the team has a portal that looks just like this. There's also a phone app that works really well. But this is one of the game changers for my accountants, my CPAs, or my founders that are just too busy and stuck doing all the monotonous work. It actually integrates directly with your chart of accounts. This is literally a clean integration. These are my chart of accounts in my system. So these are the categories that we have. Let's put it under advertising just to keep this consistent. You can add notes here, which are extremely important for your team. As a founder, we have over 10 people in here that have access to spend. So we make them put in notes. This is actually a new feature. You can split transactions. So they continue to build out this platform. But then all you would do is hit create credit card. So there it is. It shows the budget. It pre-hides things for us, which is awesome. Okay, so this is what it is. And the cool thing is I can actually show you guys the credit card number because what's going to happen is I'm going to delete this before it goes out there. So you can't actually use this card once I delete it. So this is a virtual credit card. I could go charge it right now. It's preset to the chart of accounts, which again saves a whole bunch of time, and we'll still have an opportunity to review it before we sync it. But then once we're done, we can edit this card. So let's just say, you know what, we've increased our budget and every month it's gonna be $10,000. Whatever that is, you can make those changes. Or in this case, since we don't want this card, we're gonna delete the card. And that was it. So that was the entire process of creating a card, creating that budget, adding a user. And again, I'm sure you guys can imagine the control you have, but if you have an annual software, so let's just say we use Asana for our project management software, and every year they rebill us, but sometimes their pricing changes, or maybe we had 40 extra users by accident, so we added a whole bunch of people and they were contractors and didn't need to be there, they weren't working on a project anymore, whatever it is, we have that opportunity to make it trip and stop, so we don't have to worry about remembering to then go adjust things, and we can sit down and have a consultation with Asana and talk them through it, remove the users that we don't need anymore, things like that that are going to save us a lot of money. The next step here is actually going into transactions. So this is where you would audit all transactions. Most virtual cards are automatically going to have the chart of accounts in here. So you can see that this is one specifically that already has its chart of accounts preset. That was automatic, no one had to do it. But then you'll see here that one doesn't have their chart of accounts. And so we can look in there and we can just quickly add those chart of accounts, and they're right here, and it's literally that easy. Then once you're done, you would just click on, so these are all the specific users, but I can add a filter. So I'm gonna go ahead and filter by complete, sync status as not synced. So these are all my transactions that are complete but not synced to QuickBooks. And just for this example, I'm gonna find one, and all you have to do to sync it, so you can sync them all at one time, but I'm gonna go ahead and sync to QuickBooks. That's it. It's synced to QuickBooks. It'll be in your normal chart of accounts, your banking feed. It will sync to other softwares as well. You can set up auto syncing. We don't do auto syncing because this is an opportunity for us to manually audit everything, which is very powerful. But you can also do, instead of, let's see, edit filter, instead of complete, we can do incomplete. And this will be all of the transactions that need to be audited and synced to a specific account. So there shouldn't be this many, and that's when I need to go sit with my controller and say, hey, why are there so many that aren't pre-synced? Because the whole point of the Divvy credit card is that it's pre-synced, and these could be the physical credit card. On the app itself, every time you use the physical credit card, you'll actually get a notification saying, hey, what chart of account is this in? So that way you can sync it instantly and kind of pre-fill it out, so your CPA or your bill keeper doesn't have to do all of the busy work, and it's all kind of more accurate for you. Now, my favorite thing to show everyone is declined transactions. So we have 3,797 declined transactions, and it shows almost $1 million of declined transactions of $756,000. That's a lot of money. These are all things that we weren't using anymore, were overcharges, were unknown expenses, maybe fraud. So this has saved us a potential of over $700,000. So when it comes to it, I don't care about points on recurring transactions, because if I can save $700,000, that's way more than any points I'm gonna get. Okay, so there's only a few more things that I need to show you guys. The next step is the integrations. I'm not gonna go into the integrations too much because I'm not sure what software you're gonna be using, but they have a couple in here. Travel Perks is one that we use. I didn't know they had integrations, so it's awesome. It integrates with Slack. We use QuickBooks all the time. I'll actually show you our configuration real quick, so it kind of hopefully will save you some time. But this is what it looks like. It took about 5 minutes to set up. Divvy has their own tutorial on how to do this. But if you get stuck and have questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat or the comments and let me know, and I will be happy to try to do my best to address them. But that's it for integrations. Super easy again, very helpful. Make sure ahead of time that it connects to your accounting software. The next piece, so there's 2 more pieces left of Divvy. I know it's been a lot, but again, these are all super powerful. So the reimbursements is absolutely amazing. So if I have a team member that pays for something in cash and needs a reimbursement, so they'll go to a new reimbursement. Let's just say it's out of pocket. They have miles. You can actually use Google Maps to do your miles, which is crazy. And then you just put in everything you need to do. We require for reimbursements the receipt. That way we know that they're telling the truth and that it correlates exactly to the penny. They categorize this, and then they set up their actual checking account, which is amazing. And then what will happen is it'll pop up and say, this individual is requesting reimbursement for this transaction. Here's the receipt. Would you like to approve it? From that point on, I can approve it or deny it. And then if I need to deny it, I can say, hey, this is missing information. I need more. There's no receipt, whatever. Or I can just approve it, and then it'll automatically pay them within, I think, 2 days through ACH. So that'll come out of your account and go into their account. But this is a super clean way to do expenses for your bill keeping and your CPA. So that's a super simple rule, but very powerful tool. And then the last thing is the travel perks. So this is where your points go, and it allows you obviously to book travel using points. So you just basically spend money on your Divvy credit card there and then request reimbursement. And I believe you get extra money back because it's travel. So it's an amazing tool. But the nice thing is you can create accounts for all of your team. You can set up team rules. And they all get access to this. So if there's specific hotel rules, specific travel rules, if they're only allowed to spend X amount on a hotel room, all of that can be preset for them, so you know that no one's kind of taking advantage or misusing a system. All right, so the last section, I know I said last already, but there's just so much to do with this, is insights. So just kind of like QuickBooks does, there's a lot of tools here to show you what budgets you're spending in, who's spending the most, what category you're doing. So they've done a lot to bring in those QuickBooks tools and those accounting software so you can see trends, and it makes it easy to see if you're spending more or spending less each month and how to control that. All right, so I really hope you learned a lot. If you guys are a startup, a small business, you might not need all these tools, and for that I would say start off with the Chase cards, but the Divvy has so much power, it's going to save you so much money, and it's so organized that I would honestly recommend starting there. Also, for a lot of small businesses, it's really easy to get approved as long as you have a couple $1,000s in your account, because they're going to do it based on the money you have. So your limit might be pretty small to start off. It might only be $500, but it's going to be one of the easiest ways to get business credit day one, and it'll help you build more credit so you can get in other credit cards. I appreciate a follow, and guys, use the affiliate links down in the description. Thank you.